smiled sympathetically. "Tell me about it. The penny won't be in for a couple of weeks yet." "Blech! I was looking forward to a hot bath and a dose of murder this afternoon." Marge sighed. "Business looks to be booming in here," she said, as her eyes roved over the empty store. "It's 1 o'clock on a Wednesday," Lil pointed out. "Hardly peak shopping time." "What you need is more life, more events, book clubs, that sort of thing." Which had all been part of the plan, of course. But Lil really didn't want to have this conversation. She knew that once Marge got started, there'd be no stopping her. So she said, "Have you tried Sujata Massey? The first Malabar Hills book is right up your street." Marge's face sparked with interest. "You think?" "I know," Lil said, which was true. She prided herself on making good book choices for other people. It was a skill, Barb had always said. She dashed off to the appropriate shelf and grabbed a copy, returning it to Marge's eager hands. 5 minutes later, Marge walked out swinging her paper bag. Another satisfied customer. Lil couldn't help but feel a small burst of pride as she slid the cash register drawer shut. Her very own bookstore. The bookworm had been designed in her head for at least 20 years. Since she'd been old enough to know that bookstore owner was a real job. Sometimes dreams came true. As long as she kept her eyes away from the far right corner. The corner that stood in darkness, shelves and builder's tape marking it as off-limits to the average customer. The corner that should right now be pumping the smell of fresh brewed coffee. That should have a chattering group of readers at tables. That should have Barb behind the counter. A bookstore without a cafe is like Costco without hot dogs, she protested. "Since when have you eaten Costco hot dogs?" Barb had asked. But she was raking a hand over her short hair, already bowing to Lil's idea. "You know what I mean," Lil had said. "It's part of the dream," Barb had finished up. "It's actually not a bad idea, though." And she'd been persuaded that this was the role Barb could fill in her dream, and Barb had seemed happy. Now the half-finished cafe loomed in the corner like some kind of graveyard, and Lil couldn't bring herself to look at it. "Hey, Lil!" The high-pitched voice got louder, and then faded in the course of 2 words as Billy Flynn dashed past the counter to the comic book section. "That's Ms. Bradley to you," Billy's mother said as she followed a more sedate pace. "Seriously?" said Lil. She looked down at her Doc Martens, ripped jeans, and flannel shirt. "I'm not sure anyone's ever called me Ms. anything before." Gail Flynn grinned. "There's always a first time." "Billy's not in school today?" "Dentist," grimaced Gail. "Which is why we're here, to pick up a reward. And then we're off to hunt down a very late lunch. I could murder a coffee." Lil could feel the unfinished cafe behind her looming ever larger. "This one," Billy said, running back up to the counter and sliding a comic across it. "Zombies," Lil said. "Nice choice." "They're my favorite," said Billy earnestly. "What do you think would be the biggest problem with the zombie apocalypse? Dr. Tom said it would be people getting infected teeth and then dying because there'd be no dentists. But he probably said that just because he's a dentist." Lil considered, then said, "Snoring." Billy snorted. "Snoring?" "Think about it," said Lil. "You gotta be quiet all the time so you don't get caught. But at some point, you've got to sleep. You're a snorer, and boom, the first time you fall asleep, some zombie's going to track you down and eat your brains." "Huh," said Billy, though he didn't look terrifically convinced. He took his comic and danced off, leaving his mother to pay. "He's a handful," Gail said.